have to hear individual sounds clearly because of what we're going to do. So I'll use this. They're billing this in the program book. It says Klingon 101. That implies that an hour from now you're going to walk out of here speaking Klingon. You are not, unless you already do. It's only an hour, so there's, Klingon is lots of stuff. So we can't talk about everything. But what I thought I would do is focus on a couple of things. One is pronunciation, because that's the most fun part. And also so that if you see a Klingon word written out, you have a good chance of saying it correctly. And then a little bit about the grammar. Just sort of some highlights, you can see how the thing all fits together. Tomorrow, for those of you who are here tomorrow, I'll talk more about how this all came to be and what's happening with the oops, and how the actors decided Klingon works differently from the way I decided it works, and things like that. But today is more straight language lessons. I also give a disclaimer at the beginning. Believe it or not, I have never done this before. Okay, I've worked one-on-one with the actors and things like that, but never done a group thing, so we'll see how this goes. Except for pronunciation. Pronunciation I've done. Klingon, I assume everyone's heard some Klingon, right? Okay. As you know, has some sounds in it that are perfectly reasonable, not reasonable, perfectly easy, familiar sounds, and some sounds that the way it's been described to me, as a throat disease, and that's all true. But it's really not that tough to pronounce Klingon for the most part. So the reason I wrote this here is I say so I wouldn't forget the things. The bulk of the sounds in Klingon are pretty easy sounds if you already speak English, which I hope you do. Otherwise, you're not understanding what I'm saying right now. Like any other language, there's consonants and there's vowels. The vowels are really easy. There's not very many of them. And one good thing, I think, about Klingon writing, meaning using Roman letters for Klingon writing, not the Klingon characters, that's a whole separate thing, is that whatever the letter stands for, whatever sound the letter stands for, that's what it stands for all the time. Okay? Unlike some other languages, like English. So for the vowels, we'll start with vowels because there's not many and they're easy. All right? And you're going to have to talk back to me, okay, as we go on.
No.
So the vowel, watch how easy this is. There's Now this one I'm writing with a capital I, and I'll tell you one in a second, but it's okay. Ooh. That's it. Okay? The reason I write this with a capital letter is because the letter I in English is sometimes pronounced it like an it, sometimes pronounced E like machine, sometimes pronounced I like I, right? Okay, and when I was making up this writing system, I didn't make it up for linguistics students or language learners or something like that. I made it up for the actors. Okay? And all these letters, I figured the actors who speak English would get what I was getting at. Okay? But I wanted to make sure they knew that when they saw the letter I, to pronounce it is. So I wrote it with a capital letter as kind of a reminder that it's it and not some of these other things. I suppose I could have done that with words, which is sometimes add, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, I did it with that. And the other capital letters you'll see are also as reminders to the actors. So it wasn't to make a complex writing system. It was for cues for the actors. Now you can combine these 5 vowels with what linguists call semivowels, which is W and Y, which I write W and Y. So you can have, let's say, ow, I, ew, it's just a plus ew, a, ew, ew and ew is not the same. Okay, ew, but it's the vowel plus ew, okay. much alike. Just skip those. All right? Now, come back to that because you can do something else with these guys, but I'll show you later. That's it. That's it for the vowels, right? It's easy. Klingon is easy. Lieven Litar, who's this guy you may have seen on the internet or something, he bills himself as the Klingon teacher from Germany. Always likes to point out how easy Klingon is. So, all right. That's the vowels. There are, in Klingon, 26 sounds. Total coincidence. I did not realize that there was 26 until well after all this was underway. So there's 5 vowels, therefore there's 21 consonants. All right, the consonants, some of the consonants from an English point of view are easy, and some of them not so easy. So because I've just said Klingon is easy, we'll do the easy ones first. All right? So I'll write them in no order at all. I mean, it would be in alphabetical order, but it doesn't matter because then I'm going to mess it up. So that's B like in boy. So let's pronounce everything with ah afterwards. So ba. Ba. Easy, right? I'm only going to write the ones that I transcribe with a single letter for right now. It's a J. Ja. Ja. La. La. Ma. Ma. Na. Na. Pa. Pa. Let's pronounce that strongly. Pa. 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 Ta. Ta. Va. Va. Okay. And next two you've already seen in disguise. Wa. Wa. Ya. Ya. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 plus 5. That's 15. Already more than half of the sounds as simple as pi. Okay? So that's those. Then there's a few that are right with 2 letters, okay, but they're easy sounds. So there's CH, which is ch like in church. So that's cha. Cha, 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 cha. Okay? All right, now we'll start getting a little bit tough. Just to start. This one is semi-tough, because this is a sound in English, but people have difficulty with it anyway. So you write N plus G. Okay, this is the sound at the end of the English word sing, or sang, or song. The sound okay? So saying that if it was ong, that's easy. Okay? The tricky part is in Klingon it can come at the beginning of a word, at the beginning of a syllable. It cannot in English. So in English you can say ong, but you can't say nga. That's not an English syllable. Right? You can say tong, whatever that is. Okay, tong, like eat soup or eat salad. Right? But you can't say ngat. Okay, but in Klingon you can. So, some people can just say, okay, fine, no, that's easy. Some people go, nya, 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 which is wrong. Okay? So the way to say nga, or nye, or something like that, the easiest way I found is to say it at the end of a word and then merge into the following word. So if you say, dang it, right? Dang it. Ang it. Nyet. Nyet. All right, that's what it is. Okay. Then what comes difficulty? Okay, now we get into capital letters. There's the D and the S. It's a capital S. You can't really count. These are like in English almost. Okay? So now, we'll take a brief time out for an anatomy lesson. We're going to examine our mouths. What I want you to do is take your tongue, well, don't take it. Do this with your tongue. Take the tip of your tongue and touch the back of your teeth, of your top teeth or bottom teeth, doesn't matter. Just say top teeth, okay? And slowly slide your tongue back and the first thing that will happen is you hit some kind of little ridge. And keep your tongue sliding back. So now it's kind of pointing straight up, and the top of your mouth, which is hard, it's bony. Okay, keep going, and it starts to get kind of gushy. Okay, stop now so you don't choke. Okay. Now all those different parts, the teeth and that ridge and the straight up hard part and the gushy part, all play a part in how you make various sounds. So to make the T sound in Klingon and the T sound in English, the way most people do it anyway, is to take the tip of your tongue and touch that ridge right behind your top teeth. So ta 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 ta. That's what your tongue is doing. Some people do it differently, but most people do that. Ta 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 ta. To make a normal D sound, like D like a dad, okay? Da 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 da. Ta ta ta. Okay? The N sound, where'd it go? That. Na 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 na. Can that feel what your tongue is doing? Okay. To make the Klingon D sound, you don't do that, which is why I write it with a capital letter. Instead, put your tongue so it's pointing basically straight up at that hard part. Ga 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 ga. Ga ga ga. Okay. So this is ta, na, ga. Ga. So it's a different sound. And that's why I write with a capital to remind the actors, remind you to do it differently. The S in English, like in Sioux or something, is the same as the T in the end. Ta, na, sa. Okay. Okay, but Klingon S, which I write capital S, is like this. Sha. 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 It's sort of halfway between an S and an SH sound. Sha. 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 Okay? So far not bad. Okay? This sound is okay. Turn the page. Some more capital letters now. And now I'm going to get into the real Klingon-y sounds. One I write with a capital H. A capital H is a sound that's not in English, which is why I write it with a capital H, again, to remind the actors. And so it's not like the H in English. It's not like ha, H like in ha ha ha, okay? Or house or something. It's and we don't have that in English. It exists in languages like German, like the composer Bach. I got in trouble saying that once when I was in Germany, but I'm not going to get into that. It's like in Hebrew, there's a toast in Hebrew and Yiddish, lachem, lach lomen, right, what the Loch Ness Monster is, loch, or loch, I guess. That's not sound. The way you make that sound, if it's not coming, if you can't do it, already, is you take, now remember the roof of your mouth, okay? Now take the back of your tongue, you can do this, okay? And basically do what you do to make the K sound. Ka, 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 ka. Okay? So your tongue is there, get it up there for the K, but don't finish, just put it up there. And for the K, you make it go away quickly. Ka, okay? Well, leave it up there and force air out. Okay, that's what that is. So that's ka. Now, if you do that, and at the same time you're doing that, hum. You gotta hum. Okay? Okay. That's what I write with a GH together. That's so this is okay, it sounds different. Right? This okay, so ha, ho. It's not R like in France. Okay. The rue, something. It's not that, but it sounds kind of like that. But it's not. It's a soft, nice version of this. So ha, ha. Okay. So now we're starting to get into real Klingon. Then there's a thing I write with a Q, a little Q. When I made up Klingon, I should have brought my little list, but I didn't. So let's see if I can get through this. When I made up Klingon, I went and had to decide what kinds of sounds should be in there. One of the decisions I made is that I didn't want Klingon to be a trite science fiction language. And to me, what that meant is no Z, okay, because that's so common, especially I'm thinking 1950s style cheesy science fiction, but other things too. And also no K. And the reason for no K is because so many science fiction bad guys or bad races or bad things have K. And I have a list which is not in my head, unfortunately, and I didn't think to bring it. But you can think of it. Klaatu Baradamiktu is with a K. King Kong is with a K. Krypton, Kryptonite is with a K. Superman's a good guy, but the other Kryptonites, not Kryptonians, not so much. There's Kang and Kodos, who are in Simpsons. And there's a bunch. I discovered, to my delight, actually, when I started talking about this, that even the prime source of truth in America, NPR, agrees with me about this K thing. They had this show called Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me. Maybe some of you may know that. And for one of their jokes, they had to make up, or they didn't have to, but they made up a villain in My Little Pony. And the name of the villain was Krastos the Glue Maker, but he started with a K, so it's the same thing. Now, Star Trek is not immune from this. There's lots of bad guys in Star Trek over the years whose names begin with a K, and races. One of them being Khan, right. All of the Klingons, all the male Klingons in the original series, names started with a K. There was one guy named Kodos, Kodos the Executioner, with a K. He wanted to go into hiding, so he changed his name to Anton Caridian with a K. He couldn't even get away from it. It's everywhere, everywhere, ever. K's, bad guys, bad guys. I'm not sure how Kirk fits into this. So I decided, in Klingon, there's no K. Think about that for a second. Klingon has a K. Right? The word itself. I said, I'm not going to give in to that. Okay? So we altered the sounds a little bit. And what the Federation writes with a K, okay, K, okay, is just mishearing the real Klingon sound, which is this one. Okay? Now, back to the roof of your mouth. Back of the tongue up there for a K or for a K. Ka, 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 ka. Go back even farther. Okay, there's that little thing that dangles down. Go towards that. Pop, 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 pop. That's this. Okay? So Kor was, or Kang, one of these original Klingons, is Kor. Kor. Okay? Well, if we're going to have a K, I decided, all right, we have a Ch, and we have a Ch. Let's have the grandfather of all of them, which I write with a capital Q, just to make life difficult when you type. This is the same as this, kind of, with steroids. It's a combination sort of this and this. So a capital Q is so, what it is you put your tongue up there like you did for the pop, 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 and then force everything out as fast as you can. Okay? I learned by, in coaching some of the actors, one of the things I learned about Klingon is you shouldn't be doing something like this if you're eating. So that's what all right. So those are good Klingon-y sounds. And I'll add another sound here that I probably should have stuck somewhere else. So the R. The R in Klingon is sort of like the R in Spanish. It's kind of trilled or rolled a little bit. So it's not like we do in English most of the time. It's more, but not necessarily that much. So, most speakers of Klingon that I know, okay, tend to speak Klingon with a little bit of a English accent. So it comes out more raw than a ra, but if you can do it really right. And I'll admit to some guilt in that regard. Ra, ra, ra. Okay, it's those guys. Who did I forget? Oh yeah. There's two more. One of them, I write this way. It's 3 letters, TLH. That's one sound, but I write it with 3 letters. That's tra, or ach at the end of the word. Some people find that simple as pie, tra, tra, tra. Some people go, what? You know. So the way to make that sound, okay, well, I'll describe how to make it, then give what may be a handy dandy hint or may not, is the T like we had before, like the Klingon T, we had that before. Then the L like we had before, with Klingon la la, tla, 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 tla. And I write the H because you want to do this noisily and slushily. Those are technical terms. So it's not tla, it's not tla, it's tla, tla, tla. Very non-English, okay? And the closest I've been able to figure out a way to get people to sort of get the idea of what to do is say a phrase like, at last, or at least, maybe that's better, at least. You know, at least we're talking Klingon, at least. Okay? Then drop the at the beginning, pleased. Pleased. But you should feel air and swishiness on the sides of your mouth. It's not us, no, it's a. The word Klingon, okay, begins with that, because it doesn't begin with a K. Okay, it's not a club at the beginning of Klingon, it's a club. Okay, so it's
Klingon.
By sloppy G. So it's, you know what that is and you know what the NG is. So Klingon. Klingon. And there's one more sound, only one more, in Klingon. It's a really important sound in the sense that it's very, very, very common. I mean, no sound is more important than another one. But this is a key sound. Write it with an apostrophe. The way you pronounce that is, you hear it? Now listen very, very carefully. The way you pronounce it is, that's it. It's silence. Okay? And obviously you can't hear it if there's nothing around it. What it does is it creates a sharp onset or beginning to a vowel that follows, or else it cuts the vowel off really quickly. Okay, and if it's between 2 vowels, then it makes a little silence, a little break between the 2. So it's ah at the beginning of a word, ah at the end, in the middle, if it's everywhere. We have this sound in English. We don't write it, but we have this sound in English. And it's the sound in the middle of the phrase, It means no. You don't say, right? It's that little catch. This, you can't see because we're on color, but this thing that holds my shirt together, okay, some people pronounce it differently. What do you call that?
Button.
I'm hearing 2 different things.
Button.
Button, some people say button. Other people in American English say button. Button. Which is b and There's no
button.
T. Button. Button, the way you pronounce it. That's what that is. You're always told that there's the indefinite article in English is or an, and you say before a consonant and before a vowel, right? That's a good school rule. So you say a peach, but an apple, right? But if you do say plus apple, if for some reason, because you change your mind about what you want to order or something in midstream, you say apple. Apple. You don't say apple. Okay? Okay, so say apple.
Apple.
All right, you just said that. All right, that's what that is. Now, one of the other things you can do with that is put it at the end of one of these guys. So you have ow, but you also have oh, I, el, a, you, e, oi, oi. Okay? That's the only place you can have actually two consonants together at the end of a thing, with one other exception, but hey, enough. So that's it. A Klingon syllable is really easy. Okay? A syllable starts with a consonant. Always, always, always. Okay? Yes, followed by a vowel. Always, that's the end of always. Okay? Normally it's followed by another consonant, so it's consonant then